Is God real? This time on Coffee with Pastor John. Welcome. I'm John. How to believe in something we can't see has been a challenge for forever. And we as people are right to be somewhat skeptical of people's claims or things that we can't see. So how do we deal with a God who is unseeable? What evidence do we have? What would it take to convince us that God is indeed real? This is not a new problem. People have been struggling with this, well, forever. Jesus himself said that you can't see the wind, but you can certainly see the grass blowing and the leaves fluttering, so you know the wind is real even though you can't see it. And the Apostle Paul talked about having faith in God. We walk by faith and not by sight, is what he said actually. So and when I say we, I mean Christians, we've always walked by faith. Other than the person of Jesus, who walked and talked and taught us as a human being, dealing with the problem, we'll call it a problem, of the God who cannot be seen, has been something that we've always struggled with. So, what would it take to convince us? What proof do we have? And things like that. First off, what do we mean by proof? What proof would you find convincing? What would it take to make you believe that God is real? Well, we can't see God, so we can't reach out and touch God. So what can we know? How can we know that God is real? Well, there are a lot of things in the world around us that we kind of take on faith without really understanding it. I mean, I don't know how the internet works, but I see the effects and I push the buttons and things happen. We don't have to know how electricity works or television works to be able to use those things. So we have all of these things that we don't understand, but other people do, and we trust what they're telling us. We see the effects. We can kind of, like I said, turn on the TV and see the signal, see the programs. So we know it's there, even though we can't see it or touch it. Well, our faith in God is kind of like that. We have these effects. We have these encounters. Remember that when we say God, and I mean the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob from the Old Testament, the God who became flesh and dwelled among us as a person in Jesus Christ, and who is still present in the world and acting in the world through the power of the Holy Spirit, I do believe that our God has been acting, well, since there was a world to be acted upon. So we are folks who see these effects and then have the faith that these effects are caused by God. So we have a lot of people who have written books and articles, the Bible among other things, and they've written about their experiences. We have the things that Jesus told us, but at the end of the day, it's a matter of faith. It's a matter of trust. We choose to believe. We choose to believe. That's really at the core of it. So, unlike a doorknob or something tangible that we can hold in our hands and say, okay, this is what this is, like this coffee cup. We can all agree that this is a coffee cup. It's got coffee in it, good coffee. And so, unlike those tangible things, we have a little bit harder time when something is intangible. I personally read the stories in the Bible and found them moving and convincing, and have since had experiences that are compelling to me. I've had experiences and encounters with God that I think are sufficient for me to believe. Now, I'm not talking about the angels appearing and thunder and lightning and all that dramatic kind of stuff, but I've found that in my life, in my personal experience, when I try to think and act like Jesus acts and try to do what I feel God is telling me to do, things work out well. When we look around and try to find evidence, look for evidence of God at work, we can generally find it. There are a lot of coincidences, if you will, things working out well, things working out to bring good for others and for myself, and I attribute those to God. God, in God's wisdom, has chosen to let us search for Him and choose whether to believe or not. And so that choosing, that searching, that we would call that discipleship, choosing to pattern our lives after Christ in this case, is a conscious choice. We believe that God has given us free will and the ability to choose to follow God or not. So for myself, I have found compelling evidence that God is indeed real through the witness of the Bible, and we'll talk more about that in future episodes. I've found proof that God is real in the world around me. And yeah, bad things still do happen, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But most of all, I've found this peace, this rightness when I choose to follow God, when I choose to believe in God, and it's made a positive difference in my life. So I think God is real, and I find this evidence compelling. I hope if you have questions, I hope if you have questions or things you want to think about or talk about, that you will drop me an email there below. And we'll be talking about how about the Bible. We'll be talking about why do bad things happen and all these other things in future episodes. But for this first time, is God real? Yeah, God is real. And I thank God for it. I hope that idea comforts you as much as it comforts me. So you take care. Have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.